What's up, fight fans? This is UFC President Dana White, and this weekend, Saturday night, live from the greatest arena in sports history, Madison Square Garden, we have two absolutely massive champion versus champion super fights for you at UFC 322, Della Maddalena versus Makhachev. This is a bad-ass card. Couple fights you might not know about. First up, Angela Hill versus Fatima Klein. Now, this is a women's MMA fight, and as you guys know, the women always put on the most badass fights in all of the UFC. This fight will be going to split decision, so make sure to bet accordingly. Next fight you might not know about, Bo Nickel versus Rodolfo Vieira. This is a grappler versus grappler matchup, so it is likely going to be boring as hell. This fight was supposed to be on the main card for absolutely no reason, but enough people complained, so we had to move it down to the prelim headliner. This is an absolutely bad-ass card. One of the best cards we put together in a long time. You do not want to miss this. Live Saturday, November 15th from Madison Square Garden in New York City on ESPN Plus pay-per-view. If you don't know, now you know. Man, what's cracking, gang? It's your boy T Nasty, and I'm back once again with another banger for you guys. It is day 5 of JDM Fight Week. Only 2 more sleeps until this absolute freaking masterclass piece of cinema of a card, and I just absolutely cannot wait. I had to hop on one more video for the 5th day in a row, and next up on the JDM agenda, we're going over my full UFC 322 card breakdown, predictions, and official picks. As always, make sure to go and bet the opposite of every pick for free money. If you guys watched last week's card, you know that it is guaranteed to hit if you bet the opposite of all my picks. Before we get into that, make sure to go down and hit that subscribe button. We are, I believe, 13 subscribers away from 250. I've been trying real hard to get that 250 subscriber goal by Saturday. I've been uploading 5 days in a row now, and we're just bringing lots of content for you guys. So if you're enjoying videos like this, make sure to subscribe. Join the Nasty Nation. I'm never going to switch up on my day one fans, so now is the time to join in. But with all the begging out of the way, let's get right down to this full card breakdown. Starting off with the first fight on the card on the early prelims. There's so many fights on this card. It's just such a fucking banger. Just nonstop action all night. 14 fights on the card, so you know that there's going to be no time to waste in between these fights. And I don't have time to waste either, so let's get right into these picks. First up on the card, we have Vyacheslav Borshev, my boy Slava Claus, versus Mateusz Camilo. Now this fight, how I see this going, I think Slava Claus, my boy Vyacheslav, I think he's a very, very dangerous striker. He's proved it in the past. He's got some nasty knockouts, got really, really nasty body shots. But the thing is, he tends to get hurt himself a lot in his fights. Even against guys who are not good strikers, who are primarily grapplers. I literally saw this guy get pieced up by Chase Hooper in St. Louis. And Camilo, he definitely has the grappling advantage. And he's hungry for his first UFC win. You know, he lost in his UFC debut. So he's coming in here. He's going to be trying real hard to get that win. And I do think at some point in this fight, he will hurt Vyacheslav Borshev, just like he gets hurt in almost all of his fights. But I also think he's going to be, leveraging that grappling. We've seen Vyacheslav Borshev, a lot of his losses are from getting out-grappled by strikers even. So I think Camilo is going to be coming out here with a grappling-heavy game plan. But I do think he's still going to be able to get maybe a knockdown. I'm not sure. I think he'll probably just rock him and then take him down. And I think he will get a decent amount of control for sure. But I just don't really think he's going to be able to find a submission or a TKO on Vyacheslav. I think he's tough enough to survive against Camilo, who, he's good, but he's nothing too crazy. I mean, we'll see. He might prove me wrong, but regardless, I think Camilo is going to go in and get a 30-27 or a 29-28 unanimous decision. So that's the official pick for the first fight on the card. I'm going with Mateusz Camilo by unanimous decision. Next up on the card, we got my boy Bison Gore, Jimmy Susarkayev versus this absolute random guy, Eric Makhachev. This dude, I'm pretty sure he's 0-2 in the UFC or maybe 0-1. I know he fought Cody Brundage and did not get the win there, so that just leads me to believe there's no way he's winning against Bison Gore Susarkayev, who's just an absolute powerhouse, 10-0. And, he in his UFC debut, he did get hurt a little bit in the first round by Eric Nolan, I believe his first name is Eric. But that that was mostly just because he was fucking out there, emoting and just having fun out there. And that's what this guy does. He just has fun out there. And I think this is a tailor-made matchup for him. This is a bit of a mismatch in my opinion. But Bison versus Susakai, if you guys don't know, he fought a couple months ago. I believe it was week 1 of the Contender Series. And he was the only guy to get signed. And, that was the week that Chimaev and DDP were fighting in Chicago as the main event of UFC 319. And if you don't know, Bison Susakayev is a close training partner of Chimaev. And so he leveraged that relationship and got himself a fight on literally like 5 days notice on the UFC 319 prelims after just fighting on Tuesday. Won that fight against Eric Nolan by submission in the second round. And now he's back once again making a second fight in the UFC. He literally fought like 2 months ago. And this guy's already having 2 fights in the UFC. And like I said, I just think this is a tailor-made matchup for him. I think Sutsakaev is going to go in and absolutely smash this guy, Eric Makhachev. This guy is really just not that good. I don't think he's UFC level, to be honest with you. We'll see what he's able to do here, but I think Sutsakaev easily TKOs him in round 1. I think he's going to KO him with a body shot. Like maybe a teep like he did on the Contender Series, or just like a roundhouse, or like, just like some nasty body hooks. I think he's or a knee maybe. Or just, maybe just an accumulation of shots. I really see him backing Makhachev against the cage and just teeing off on him, emoting, getting him pissed off, and getting him emotional, and then just catching him with a body shot and absolutely slumping him over, getting that TKO win. Like I said, this is a mismatch, but they got to put Bison Gore on these big cards. I mean, this guy's a future star in the making, so get him on these big cards, get him some easy wins, and yeah, I think we're gonna see big things out of Bison Gore, Susakaev in the future. So official pick, I'm going Bison Gore, Susakaev, my boy Jimmy Sue by round 1 TKO. Next up on the card, we got our first women's fight of the night. We got a few women's fights on this card. First one of the night, we got Angela Overkill Hill versus Fatima Klein. Now, this fight is going to split decision. Garen fucking teed, lock it in. Fight goes the distance, is 100% a lock. And yeah, so but if you're gonna bet on this fight, that's the bet to hit. Do not bet on either of these girls because this is absolutely going to split decision. And so you're likely to fucking end up getting it wrong. But Klein, she is really good. She's honestly very skilled for women's fighting. She's dangerous. She's got a couple finishes in the UFC, I believe. And yeah, like I said, very skilled. And on the other side, Angela Hill, I mean, this girl, she's fucking washed. And like even in her prime, she was not that good. She's a split decision merchant. Like literally almost every single fight this girl has ever been in the UFC has gone to split decision. Whether she wins or loses, it doesn't matter because regardless, it just goes to split decision and it is boring as hell. And every time you think, she's getting some momentum, it goes to split decision and she fucking loses. Even when you think she wins, she ends up losing. Even when you think she loses, she somehow gets the robbery win. Coming off a loss in this fight. And yeah, she just was never even that good in the first place. Literally 18-15 record, like almost 50-50 record. That is 15 losses, bro. Like, come on, dude. Just absolutely insane. But yeah, regardless, my official pick, I'm going with Fatima Klein to win by decision. I think she's a lot better than Angela Hill. But it will be split decision, so you never fucking know. But regardless, it's WMMA, so who fucking cares, bro? All right, moving on. Next up on the early prelims, we got Pat Sabatini versus Chepe Machine Gun Mariscal 2. People forget, man, this is a rematch. And I believe Pat Sabatini won by split decision. So, Chepe Mariscal, he's going to be hungry to go in there and get revenge in this one. He's going to want to finish Pat Sabatini for sure, and I think he absolutely can. He has a striking advantage, absolutely. Pat Sabatini has nasty jiu-jitsu, but I just don't think he's going to be able to pull that off against Chepe. Chepe is a very well-rounded fighter, and he just has a nasty style. He's fucking mean in there, and I think he's going to go out there and bully Pat Sabatini, stop any takedown attempts he might have, and just beat him up, hit him with some nasty leg kicks. I think he's going to be have a fat freaking bruise on his calf at the end of this fight. But yeah, I think Chepe is going to beat him up for the first round, but I think he will be taking his time quite a bit. I think he's going to be pretty patient. That's kind of how he always does it in his fights. He's nasty, but he's not like a super high output guy. But But I think ultimately in round 2, I think he's going to hurt him badly and then finish him with ground and pound. So that's the pick for this fight. I'm going Chepe Mariscal to get the win by round 2 TKO. Next up on the card, we got Kyle the Dark Knight Dawkins versus Gerald GM3 Mearshart. Shout out to GM3 from the Midwest. Gotta love that. Definitely do not love his record. I mean, 20 losses, bro. That just speaks for itself. But I mean, 37 wins. I mean, this guy has 57 professional fights. That's just crazy. It doesn't say his age, though, but he's got to be pushing 40 by now. And Kyle Dawkins on his second run in the UFC now, coming off a big win over Michel Pereira. Finished Michel Pereira. That's very impressive. And yeah, just the win streak he's been able to put together has been very impressive. You know, his first run in the UFC, he was kind of so-so, but ever since he's returned, this dude looks fucking nasty. He's super dangerous on the feet, on the ground. They call him the Dark Knight for a reason. But ultimately, how I think it'll go, I mean, GM3, he's old and he's slow. I mean, he looked really bad against Brad Tavares, I believe, in his last fight. And I just think he's going to get pieced up. Dawkins has a lot of momentum, like I said. Super dangerous on the feet and on the ground. And I believe he's going to beat the absolute brakes off of GM3 and finish him in round 1. I think it's going to be like an up against the cage kind of TKO. Like, I think he's going to hurt him. And, like, basically GM3 is just going to shell up. And Dawkins is going to be, like, standing but, like, winging, like, nasty shots on him on the ground. And ultimately, the ref is going to be forced to step in and stop it. Get the mercy stoppage. I could see a sub as well. I mean, Kyle Dawkins has very nasty jiu-jitsu. But Gerald Mearshart is really good. So I just don't know if he's going to be able to pull that off. He is no Rainier DeRitter, that's for sure. But ultimately, don't count out GM3. I mean, this guy's a crafty vet. 37 wins. I mean, I'm pretty sure he has the record for the most submissions in UFC middleweight history. And so he definitely could find the sub at some point in this fight if Dawkins, say Dawkins does, like, hurt him and go in for the kill, but is not able to get the finish. I could see Dawkins getting gassed out and ultimately subbed by GM3. But ultimately, regardless, I just don't think that's going to happen. And I'm going to go with Kyle Dawkins to win this fight by round 1 TKO. Next up on the prelims. First fight on the main portion of the prelims. We got Malcolm Wellmaker, the Machine, versus Cody Haddon. Not Colby Thickness. I know they look alike, but they're not the same person. Malcolm Wellmaker, I can't remember who he was supposed to be fighting originally. I think it was Sergey City, maybe. Something like that. So this is a late notice replacement. Shout out to Cody Haddon having the balls to step up and face a guy like Malcolm the Machine. I mean, dude is just absolutely nasty on the feet. Super creative. Really, really good footwork. And just like the way he mixes it up, like his last 2 knockouts, I mean, against Cameron Simon, he had that, like, he just like stepped back into southpaw and hit him with that lead right hook and just fucking absolutely slumped him. That shit was nasty. And then his last fight against Chris Moutinho, who, like, I mean, we all know Chris Moutinho is a fucking can. I mean, let's be honest. Sean O'Malley beat the brakes off him, couldn't KO him somehow. But Malcolm Wellmaker absolutely slimed him out with a right hook. That's 3 fights in a row that he won by right hook, by the way. Very, very impressive of him to just keep winning with the same move over and over again. But against Chris Moutinho, the way he set it up, he did like a step through right teep to the body and then landed in southpaw and hit that right hook once again. That lead right hook is just nasty from Malcolm Wellmaker. And I think the hooks are going to be a factor in this fight once again for Malcolm Wellmaker. But the thing is, Cody Haddon, this guy's super, super good as well. He was on the same season of Contender Series as Malcolm. And I honestly thought he was one of the best prospects from that whole season, aside from Malcolm himself. So really, really interested to see what he's going to be able to pull off in the UFC going forward. I just think this is a tough matchup for him. Malcolm Wellmaker, really, really good. Like I said, really creative. And, you know, he's a little untested is the only thing. So I think this is going to be his hardest fight yet for sure. Cody Haddon, very good, very well-rounded. That one loss on his record is to Steve Erseg in Eternal MMA, I believe, in Australia. Very, very good loss that aged well for him. And I believe it was a split decision too. So shout out to Cody Haddon. Dude's really good, really underrated. And I think he's going to test Malcolm. I think he's going to be wrestling and, you know, trying to like play the outside game a bit on the feet and probably like, I think he's going to be very cautious of those hooks from Malcolm, especially the lead right hook. And I think he's going to make Malcolm miss quite a bit. But I think ultimately towards the end, like the last half of the first round, after Malcolm struggles a little bit early on, I think eventually he's going to find his rhythm and start to be able to set up his, you know, stance switching and good footwork and eventually set up one of those big hooks And I think this time it will be a left hook instead of a right. He's not going to see. Don't let him know your next move, So, yeah, I think Malcolm's going to get the KO in this one in round 1. Once again, keep the streak alive. I mean, he's a big prospect. And as we all know, the UFC is rigged. So, of course, they're probably going to make that happen. But, yeah, so that's the pick. I'm going with Malcolm Wellmaker by round 1 KO, sliming out Cody Haddon. 3rd knockout in the UFC in a row. Next up on the prelims, Erin Blanchfield versus Tracy Cortez 2. Man, I've been doing a lot of tape study for this fight. No, but for real though, a lot of people don't know this is a rematch as well. And Cortez actually won the first fight, which is surprising because I mean she is good, but Erin Blanchfield is low key like one of the top talents in this division. She got derailed in the Manon Fior fight, but she's back on a win streak again, I believe. And I think Blanchfield is at least one, if not two, if not one fight away from a title shot. So if she were to get the win here, I think she fights for the title soon. But the way I think it goes, I think Cortez is probably just going to play the outside game and, try to strike with her. Keep it standing. I think that's her path to victory for sure. But, Blanchfield's going to come out hungry for sure to get her win back. And I think she's going to pressure her, trap her against the cage, take her down, and submit her. I mean, I just think Blanchfield is another level on the ground, especially now that she has momentum in her career. And, yeah, I think the way she's going to get it, I think it's going to be some sort of arm lock. Like, that's her best move for sure is the arm submissions. So I'm thinking, like, either a straight arm bar or maybe an Americana or maybe just, like, a legit arm bar. Something like that. I think she's going to lock up in the first round and make Tracy Cortez tap out. Normally, I would say it's WMMA, so who gives a fuck? But this actually is a really good fight. Very interesting. And the winner of this is definitely going to be getting a title eliminator in their next fight. So pay attention to this fight. Not just because Tracy Cortez is a baddie, but also just because this is a good fight. I mean, respect to the women here. This is actually a good fight. And yeah, like I said, next year, whoever wins, they're getting a title eliminator for sure, either in like an Apex main event or on the main card of a pay-per-view. So yeah, that's the official pick though. I'm going Erin Blanchfield by round 1 submission. Next up on the card, this fight is a fucking banger. This is like the low-key banger of the night. People are not talking about this fight. Roman Kopylov versus Gregory Rodriguez, and both of these guys, they're just always in super entertaining fights, especially Gregory Rodriguez. If you guys don't know, I named him as my pick for the best action fighter at middleweight right now. And yeah, Gregory Rodriguez, my boy RoboCop, he's really good, really entertaining. But so is Roman Kopylov. I mean, he hasn't done too well in the UFC. I think he went 0-3 in his first few fights, and then he went on a nice little win streak. But then he's lost a couple since then. So yeah, he struggled a bit in the UFC. But ultimately, the way I think this fight goes, I think this fight's going to be a fucking war through 2 rounds, like it always is when these two guys fight. But I think this fight only goes 2 rounds, and I think it'll be a war throughout those 2 rounds. And I think Rodriguez is going to win by a TKO. I think it'll either be like a standing TKO up against the cage, or what I really think is going to happen, I think he's just going to absolutely cold him CTE Society style KO with like a right hand or an uppercut. I think Rodriguez is going to sleep Roman Kopylov bad, face plant him. But I do think by the end of this fight, both guys are going to be a complete bloody mess. I think this is going to be the bloodiest fight of the night. The cage cleaner guys, they're going to have their work cut out for them in this one for sure. But yeah, that's the pick. I'm going Gregory Rodriguez to win by round 2 KO. All right, next up, prelim main event. We got Bot Nickel versus Rodolfo Vieira. Yeah, I think this is a good matchup for Bo here. I think Bo is going to piece him up on the feet for sure. I really don't think Rodolfo is going to be able to get him down at all. And we've seen before in many of Rodolfo's fights, if he's not able to get the takedowns, he basically just loses. So, I mean, this is Bo's fight to win for sure. I think Bo does piece him up on the feet, like I said. And ultimately, I think Rodolfo is going to end up panic shooting and getting subbed. Bo Nickel low-key has a very underrated submission game. We've seen it time and time again. I mean, he's going up against Cans for sure. This is by far the best grappler he's ever faced. Aside from maybe Paul Craig, but Rodolfo is much more proven in legit jiu-jitsu competitions. I believe he's 80cc world champion before. So yeah, I think Bo's gonna get the submission after a panic shot from Rodolfo Vieira. And I think it's gonna be probably a guillotine, maybe a triangle, but something off his back. I think he's going to lock it up as he gets Rodolfo shoots for a takedown. And I think this lasts less than half a round. I think this lasts maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes max. I think Bo's going to piece him up for a bit. Rodolfo's going to panic shoot and get subbed very easily in the first round. The other way I could see this going is this could low-key be a war. I mean, usually in grappler versus grappler matchups, you end up either seeing them test the grappling against each other and we see who's better, or neither guy can get it to the ground and they just fucking go to war and they scrap. I really don't think this is too likely just because Vieira is like shit on the feet and Bo Nickel pretty much like he's really not like willing to take punches like that. So I don't really see that happening per se, but you never know. It could happen for sure. Especially if Vieira decides to like actually lock in and do good on the feet. But ultimately, I'm going Bo Nickel for my official pick by round 1 submission. All right, now it is time for the main card. One of the best pay-per-view main cards in a long fucking time. By far the best one this year, in my opinion. Kicking off the main card, we got my boy Uncle Benny Dariush versus Benoit Saint Denis. Now, if this fight was happening 5 years ago, dude, I'm picking Beneil Dariush. Beneil Dariush, I think, has all the advantages on paper, aside from age. That's the only one. I just think Beneil's old, and I don't think he's going to be able to, keep up with the pace that Benoit might put on him. And I think Benoit is going to be able to get the TKO. Is going to be my official pick. But yeah, I think BSD ultimately, I think he's going to use crazy pressure from the get-go. I think he's going to immediately get right on Beneil. And I think it'll look a lot similar to like the Arman Tsarukyan and Charles Oliveira fights. I mean, that, they've shown that that's the way to beat Beneil Dariush in recent years. You just got to put it fucking on him from the get and just don't give him any space to, get off with his, Beneil's powerful for sure, but if you don't give him space to set it up, he's not going to be able to do anything. You got to completely nullify him with just overwhelming offense. And I think Benoit Saint Denis is going to be able to do that. Yeah, like I said, I think it'll be similar to the Oliveira and the Arman fights. And I think BSD is going to end up either TKOing him with a shot standing, or I think he's going to take him down and get a finish with nasty ground and pound. But I think regardless, Benoit Saint Denis is going to win by TKO in round 1. I just think he's going to be too much for Beneil at this time in his career, at this age. And yeah, that's the pick I'm going. Benoit Saint Denis by round 1 TKO to kick off the main card. Now next up, we got Leon Edwards versus my boy Carlos Prates. I would make a joke and say his initials, but I am not trying to get banned on YouTube as well. If you know, you know. But yeah, the way I think this fight goes, I think Leon's going to be trying to smudge him. I think he may or may not try to take down. I mean, he really doesn't shoot takedowns on his own like that. He pretty much just like uses like counter takedowns when people try to wrestle against him. But I do think he will be trying to grab him and hold him close at all times. I think he'll be clinching for a majority of this fight. And ultimately, he'll just be making it boring for 2.5 rounds, picking his shots from the outside, using the kicks, really, really trying to slow down the pace. But the thing is, that type of pace, it favors Carlos Prates as well. Carlos Prates is not like a super like crazy high output fighter. Like, he is entertaining for sure, but he's not just like freaking going balls to the wall at all times. Like, that type of pace, I think it will really benefit him as well. Allow him time to set up, find his shots, and ultimately, I think Carlos Prates is going to end up finishing Leon Edwards in the 3rd round. But early on, I think he will be hesitant because of the, takedown and clinch threat from Leon Edwards. And I believe, once they get into that 3rd round, after Leon smudges him for the first 2, I think Leon's going to get lazy a little bit with his defense, which is typically pretty good. But, we saw in that Nate Diaz fight, once you get to the end with Leon, he kind of quits a little bit, like he just like stops trying as hard in the later rounds. And I think that'll happen once again. And ultimately, I think Prates goes in for the kill in round 3 and sends Leon to the fucking shadow realm, to the 7th layer of hair with a left hand. Nasty 1-2, finishes him with the left hand, face plants him. We saw in the Nate Diaz fight that Leon Edwards can get hit with that left hand and get rocked. I mean, he got rocked by Nate Diaz with a left hand. Like, how do you really think he's gonna be able to take one of those freaking left hands from Carlos Prates, like one of the nastiest left crosses in the entire UFC right now? Like, no, Leon Edwards is not eating that shit. And throughout 3 rounds, he's gonna get hit by one eventually. And I think in the 3rd round, Carlos is gonna find that chin and just absolutely slump Leon Edwards. It'll be on CTE Society Instagram. Make sure to look out for that on Sunday. But that's the pick. I'm going Carlos Prates, my boy, to win by round 3 KO. All right, next up in the main card, the featured fight of the night, Sean Brady versus Michael Morales. Now, this could be a number 1 contender fight right here. I mean, especially for Sean Brady, if he gets a very impressive win, he will definitely be next for the title. And Morales could be as well. I mean, there's a lot of freaking room at the top of welterweight right now, especially with the super fight going on in the main event. But ultimately, the way I see this going is I think Sean Brady, I think he will be trying to get takedowns, but I just don't think he'll be able to get them. I think he's way too small for Michael Morales. And Michael, I think his grappling is underrated. He did get taken down by Gilbert Burns a little bit, but he was able to get up. So I think if he does get taken down here, I think he'll be able to survive. Honestly, Sean Brady and Gilbert Burns have very similar styles. Just Gilbert Burns is a bit more of a threat on the feet, and Michael was able to easily dismantle him. So I think he's going to be able to pick up the win here against Sean Brady. I think Morales will have him pinned against the cage, and I think he will rock Sean Brady really badly at some point. I think he probably will drop him, and then Sean Brady, I don't think he'll be able to get the finish just because Sean Brady will use like some sort of submission threat to maybe counter the pressure from Michael when he goes in for the kill. And I think he'll be able to use that to survive and just, keep going for the fight. I think Sean Brady is really good, and he learned a lot from that Bilal Muhammad TKO loss probably. So I think he'll be able to survive this fight against Michael Morales. I think it's going to round 3. But another thing I think will happen at some point in this fight, I think Brady will try to pull guard, maybe jump a ghillie at some point, or like jump on a backpack if he gives him his back while they're standing in the clinch at some point. But I do think this will backfire on him, and I think he's getting slammed. It'll be a big slam. I don't know, like he's not going to get a slam KO or nothing, but it'll be a big moment, and the crowd's going to go crazy for it. And I do think Morales will get a knockdown in round 3. Like I said, and that's when Brady will get the guillotine or the triangle from bottom attempt. But ultimately, the way this goes, I think it ends up going to decision with Morales picking up a 30-27, possibly a 30-26 on at least one of the scorecards, especially if he gets that knockdown, like I'm saying, in the big slam. But I think Morales wins by unanimous decision. Next up, time for the co-main event. Nobody's fucking talking about this fight, but this is another champion versus champion super fight. Valentina Shevchenko, one of the greatest women's fighters of all time, versus the modern GOAT of WMMA, Zhang Weili. She's on a crazy win streak right now. Ever since she's gotten the belt back, she's been on a tear. Absolutely dominating all of the top contenders at women's strawweight. And people have been begging for this fight for a long time, saying that Weili needs to vacate the belt and move up, just because there's no competition for her at that weight class. And she's finally doing it. She relinquished her belt, and now she's facing Valentina Shevchenko. Like I said, one of the greatest women's fighters of all time. Like I'll never forget. I saw her in Chicago when she fought Jessica I believe it was UFC 236. Yep, that's what it is. I got the poster right behind me on the wall. It's not in camera, but yeah, dude, that was just a fucking nasty knockout. Like she just absolutely slimed her out with that head kick. And when I tell you, she was out for like almost 5 minutes. Like it was so fucking long. It felt like the crowd went fucking nuts when that happened, dude. Like absolutely fucking crazy. And then as soon as they realized like how like bad the knockout was, it went dead fucking silent. You could hear a pen drop in that bitch. It was sold out in that arena, and it was so quiet while everyone was waiting for her to wake up. It was absolutely crazy. Shevchenko, very, very good fighter, super good on the feet. But the way I see this going, I think it'll either be a war, like an absolute freaking nasty fight, just similar to the Joanna Jędrzejczyk and Zhang Weili fight, or it could end up being boring as fuck. Like I don't think there's any in between. It'll either be Zhang Weili wins and puts a lot of damage on Valentina and forces her into a freaking absolute banger of a fight, or Valentina ends up smudging her way to a decision. But I do think Weili, I think the height is going to be a lot. Well, I mean, she's only an inch taller, but she has a 4-inch reach advantage. So, but I think the length is going to be a problem, and the range of Valentina is going to be a problem for Weili. So I think she'll be missing quite a bit in this fight. I think she'll be, throwing a lot of strikes, but just missing a lot. And I think Valentina is going to be using her wrestling for sure, and her clinch game. She's been clinching a lot in her most recent fights. As she's gotten older, she's had to, rely on her physicality more and more. And I think she's going to be able to pull that off in this fight. I do think Weili will rock Valentina at some point with like a knee maybe to the body, or maybe just like a hook or something. I think at some point Valentina gets rocked and hurt. but I think she'll be able to, end up getting like a takedown or something, or just clinching up and survive after getting rocked. And I also think at some point in this fight, Valentina will land like a crazy like spin kick to the body, maybe one to the head, just some like flashy kick, like a jumping switch kick, something like that. And it's gonna get a big reaction for the crowd. I don't think she's gonna be able to knock out Zhang Weili with it though. Weili is too tough for that. But yeah, ultimately I think Valentina smudges her way with the clinch, with the knees in the clinch, and just pitter pattering around on the outside, and just ultimately outpointing Weili. I think Valentina Shevchenko ends up winning a 48-47 or 49-46 unanimous decision. So that's the official pick, Valentina Shevchenko to win by decision. Now for the main event. You guys know who I'm picking in this fucking fight. You guys know I'm picking Jack Della Maddalena to win. Now, if you want like a full analytical analysis and breakdown of this fight, go check out my video from 2 nights ago. I made a 40-minute video breaking down all the aspects of this fight, went over the storylines, went over the tail of the tape, went over how their style matches up, went over the similar opponents as they've faced, went over a round-by-round breakdown of how I think this fight will go down. The most cinematic fight in history, by the way. I mean, you can't script it any better than I did. It probably won't actually go like that, but I gave you my official pick in that video as well, and I will give it to you right now. I believe Jack Della Maddalena will be winning this fight by round 5 TKO. Just in short, I think this will be a very, very good fight. I think it does end up getting fight of the night. And I do think Islam will be able to get some wrestling off and get a decent amount of control at some point. I think he will hold like a body triangle from the back for like at least 2 minutes of a round and secure a bit of control time there. But I think JDM also proves that he can hang on the ground. I think we're going to see some scrambles. I think we're going to see maybe some takedown attempts or submission attempts from Jack Della Maddalena as well. And I do think at one point in the fight, I believe I said it was in the 4th round, I think Islam is going to lock up a tight-ass submission, like an arm triangle or like a Darce. That's like his signature move, something like that, some sort of choke. I think he will lock up very tight at some point. And you already know Joe Rogan, DC, they're going to, it's tight. Oh my God, Jack Della Maddalena might have to tap out. But I think Jack's going to be able to escape. I think he's going to know how to be able to get out of those moves. You already know he's down there training with Volk and Craig Jones, and they're going over the choke defense every fucking day. Like, there's just no way. Like, I think he will get caught, but I don't think he will end up tapping out to this choke. I think he'll be able to escape it. And I think in the 5th round, I think he's going to hurt Islam at some point, and Islam's going to go for a takedown. And I think Jack intercepts him with an uppercut, rocks him badly, and then follows up with a straight to the head and just knocks Islam down, and then follows up with nasty ground and pound and gets the early stoppage. That's what I think is going to happen. I think all the fans are going to be on Twitter crying that it's an early stoppage, but I don't care. Jack Della Maddalena is going to get the win and be pound for pound number 2 in the world. So yeah, those are the official picks for the card. I got Jack Della Maddalena by round 5 TKO. I got Valentina Shevchenko by decision. I got Michael Morales by decision. I got Carlos Prates by round 3 KO. I got Benoit Saint Denis by round 1 TKO. I got Bo Nickel by round 1 submission. I got Gregory Rodriguez by round 2 KO. I got Aaron Blanchfield by submission in round number 1. I got Malcolm Wellmaker by knockout in round number 1 as well. I got Kyle Daugus by round 1 TKO. I got Chepe Machine Gun Mariscal by round 2 KO. I got Fatima Klein by split decision. I got Bison Gore, Jimmy Sue, Susurkayev by round 1 TKO. And then in the first fight of the night, I got Mateus Camilo by decision. Yes, you heard that right. I'm calling a lot of finishes on this card. I may or may not be wrong, but you guys know I like to go for the violence, so that's what I'm picking. Make sure to bet the opposite of all those picks for some free money, absolutely guaranteed. Now, as for the performance of the night and the fight of the night, I think bonuses are going to go to Carlos Prates and Malcolm Wellmaker for some CTE Society KOs. They're putting their opponents to sleep, and I think they're going to get an extra $50K for it. And then fight of the night, I mean, it's going to be this main event. This main event is going to be absolute cinema, just like the rest of this badass card. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. That's 5 days in a row I've uploaded on this JDM fight week. May or may not be here tomorrow. Depending on how the press conference goes, I might do a little reaction video for that. But I'm thinking I'm probably going to take a little break up until Saturday night after the fights when I give my reaction video. Go ahead, check out my JDM versus Islam full breakdown. Check out the draft video from earlier today I did with the boys if you want to see, some more entertaining picks, some banter with me and the guys. And yeah, just go and subscribe. We are 13 subscribers away from 250. I got to hit that goal. I really want to hit it before Saturday, so go down, help me out. I really appreciate all the love you guys have been showing me. So just keep it rolling. Give me some extra subscribers. Let's get to 250 by Saturday. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like, leave a comment, share this shit on Facebook, ring that notification bell, become a channel member, create a second account, and then repeat those steps for me. If you're not doing those things, you are just a straight up casual with all due respect. If you want to be a hardcore, you got to subscribe to this channel, just like all other 237 of the hardcores that follow me. Shout out to everyone showing love. It's been a great week. I cannot fucking wait for this fight. I cannot wait for this card. It's going to be so fucking good, guys. Like 2 more sleeps and the best card of the whole year. It will be upon us. But with all that being said, I am out. I will see you guys Saturday. Take it easy, gang.